It's time to split, or something like that. Who could ever forget that catchphrase after having played Timesplitters 3? Cortex, I got your back, even if everyone else in the game makes fun of you for it. You're one of the few guys I like when they drop their one-liners.
Yeah, it's time to split.
Right, whatever.
Recently, I was in the mood for a shooter again, and what's better than spending $3 on one of the best shooters ever? Nothing, except maybe a good döner, but sadly those cost like double that nowadays. Really makes you want to go back to 2005, when they still cost half of that, and you could have lots of sleepovers with the bros while playing video games. Like Timesplitters 2 and 3, because you had nothing else to worry about. Too bad I have no friends anymore, so now I had to play it all by myself and see if it's still fun like that, and I can already spoil you, yes it is. Just like a good mom or dad, I have to start with the bad though before I can talk about the good. Not like mine ever mentioned the later, since there's nothing really. The first mission already shows my biggest complaint about the game. It is way too linear in comparison to the second game. There's a story reason for why this level is this linear, but the later levels are also just as linear for the most part. That doesn't mean I want Timesplitters to be some kind of open world shooter, that would be way worse, but there are no side missions that existed like in 2. You go into a level and many times it's just a straight path, with you sometimes being able to go into different doors here and there, but going out of your way of the main path is a bit unneeded. In 2, I loved doing all these side missions because they gave the levels a bigger feeling, even if they weren't that much bigger. Going out of your way to do little things, because those count the most in life. A person remembering your birthday without you telling them when it's close to coming up. Them still knowing little details you gave them years ago. Getting a hug out of nowhere because they know you really needed one. That's how fulfilling those little quests felt like. Maybe not that much, but still, they're dearly missed here. The main campaign is just too straight, and I say this as a straight guy. The first half of it gives you the classic Timesplitters feeling, where you feel happy about getting thrown from Scotland to a level on a train with James Bond references, and then to a somewhat more modern time with a haunted mansion setting where you meet the best Cortex sidekick. For specific reasons. Then you get to the future that is not perfect, and it still has highlights like the whole rooftop mission where you go down the building, a Terminator kind of war against robots, and well, most of these levels are not bad, but they feel less quirky and less special. Then you realize why. Because Free Radical made the mistake of going to EA as a publisher for their game. Nowadays you know you should never ever do that, but back then they weren't that hated yet. Yes, they already shut down classic studios like Westwood or Bullfrog at that point, but the hatred for that company wasn't at an all-time high till later, where they got voted the worst company twice in a row. Even though there were way worse companies out there like Burger King, the worst burgers of all time. The sad thing is, it was Free Radical's own fault to the degree that they switched from IDOS to EA. They clashed a bunch of times with IDOS about different views when it comes to the game, or things like how they really wanted to make a GameCube version for 2 but got told no, so they had to threaten them a bit by saying they will just go to Activision to publish that version then. But nothing that really restricted their freedom too much, and IDOS was even happy about the sales. Something that you should be happy about too, right? Because it means you will most likely get a bigger budget next time, even more freedom, things like that. Nowadays, hitting sales goals and selling more than expected still means you're getting your job cut. Free Radical wanted more though. They felt the sales weren't enough, and reading this part made me think their egos got fed a bit too much by the scores. You really think your quirky shooter franchise has a bigger pull than James Bond? Especially when combined with a really good game? Back then most licensed games sucked, so it was extra special when they didn't, and it was getting jerked off by everyone, which helped to sell it lots. It's okay to think highly of yourself, but you shouldn't push your luck too much. In the end, they thought EA could sell the game better, but ended up regretting it since EA was way more hands-on with the development and tried to tell them what to make. It also led to one of the funniest interviews where David Doak, one of the founders of Free Radical, talked about how sometimes EA would go to them and tell them, hey, you know what, look at our GoldenEye game, that's way cooler than your game. We are gonna spend all our marketing money on this one instead. Idiots. Imagine the guys making a shitty GoldenEye game, just pushing it into the faces of the guys who made the good GoldenEye game. You can't make this shit up. Or showing them lots of pictures of Vin Diesel. And yes, they most likely were also responsible for the catchphrase. One of the few good things that EA did. It's time to split from EA because nobody wants to work for them. That is just how life is sometimes. Like I said earlier, I'm not the biggest fan of the later levels in the game because they feel too sci-fi generic. The more spacey levels in Timesplitters 2 were also already my least favorite, so maybe that's a me issue. I always love the other time eras the most because it's like you get so many games in one. Every level makes you think, what is next? Where will it take me after this level? The second half lacks that because it's future, more future and again future, before you go back in time to stop the big baddie, but it's also a bit drab and misses the colors I love to see. The levels are still fun to play, so that's good. I have one question though, who was responsible for the muzzle flash on this gun? It's super fun to use, but I almost don't want to show any footage from this level because I mostly use this gun and when you shoot with it you see nothing, only the flash, and I don't want you to have a seizure. A cool thing about the campaign is that there's wormholes sometimes where you get to see Cortex twice, sometimes even more. I wish I could go back in time to create a time paradox and change many things, like saving the dinosaurs and maybe paying more attention in school. And you get to see certain scenes from two perspectives, like here, where you drive the tank at first, but then later you actually get to be the one shooting the flying plane thingies instead. Or when you first hack these computers with the classic pipe connecting minigame, while the others protect you from the robots, while then later you get to be the one protecting the hacking Cortex. It's nothing mind-blowing, but it's always neat when it happens. Another neat little thing is that the uplink now can be used to grab objects and throwing them, which is kinda wasted here. You use it like once to activate a switch early on and then you probably will pretty much forget about it, unless you wanna get a trophy for throwing a pool ball at zombies. Or for grabbing armor and medkits that are a bit too high up sometimes to normally reach. Someone at EA probably saw Half-Life 2 and its gravity gun and thought, wow, you gotta put something like that in too, without actually building the game around it, unlike the earlier game Second Sight. So it was fairly easy to implement since you already had it in their engine. Or they didn't want it to go to waste since the sales for that game were rather low and thought, hey, why not also put that gravity shit in here too? EA isn't to blame for everything, I think. The two standout levels for me are the train that can turn you into a gambler. Don't do it. Even if you're close to winning the jackpot, your next spin could be it. You know what they say, 90% of gamblers quit before the big hit. Or the scene with the cat that reveals that this cat is actually not real, where it tries to gas you, but after, normally as a German, I'm used to doing the gassing. The only thing worse than that is dropping a nuke, a French nuke. And then secondly, the Haunted Mansion, that probably gave a bunch of people nightmares back in the day because of this big friendly deer breaking out of the wall or La Creatura later on. Luckily you get to hang out with a hot chick, so everything is alright. She's the only cow who is still alive in this mansion, even though these are also alive in their own way. It's peak Timesplitters here with fun levels and fun characters to hang out with. Even though back in the day I did not understand how the henchmen fell for Tipper's disguise. You would expect them to also put on a wig that actually makes him look like a woman, but he keeps his normal hairstyle when putting on the female henchman uniform. I thought maybe the guards have really questionable taste in women, but nowadays I know he was just pretending to be gay and a bit fruity. Pretty progressive for an evil group to accept a gay lord in the 60s. But it was the hippie time, so I guess it wasn't that out of place. Towards the end, it feels a bit rushed with the final level that is basically just a final boss where they make you fight the boss you already fought before. The biggest difference is his asshole, kinda. In the first version of him he still got his ballsack and his back that is full of something I guess. In his final form he gets rid of it and instead now has a stretched out hole only. I think I would rather die as a virgin than to ever do it with this. I'm pretty sure there's at least one person out there who would have fun with him like this though. There's always someone out there for everything, don't do it. The campaign will give you lots of fun for around 5 hours, but everyone knows the Arcade League and the challenges are the best part for real single players. Since you can play the campaigns together with a bro, which makes them extra fun, except for Neo Tokyo and 2. It was the great filtering for me back in the day with an impatient friend since it was a stealth mission at the start of it, and that's not really the best thing for two kids who are wide awake at night at the weekly sleepover full of Coca-Cola. Nowadays I prefer Pepsi Max. Here you get little missions like getting first place with at least 30 kills, and crazy challenges that make you think these challenges are crazier than the challenges that you nowadays see on TikToks where the kids basically kill themselves for. They fill you with the need to get that platinum or at least gold trophy in all of them, even if you hate some of them, because they give you new characters to unlock. And unlocking things is really fun for me. My absolute favorite challenges here are the ones with Strudel, the robotic cat that got turned into an RC car. Anyone else who saw these ultra cool commercials back in the day and always wanted an RC car but never got one? Because your parents knew you will play with it for like 1 or 2 days and then it will collect more dust than your Wii U ever did. It controls as badly as it looks like, but that's what makes it fun. I wish I would have given Strudel her whole own game. I know Revolt is everyone's favorite RC car game, but for me it's all about 3D Ultra Radio Control Racers Deluxe. What a blast from the past. The devs just went wild here with also some classics returning like the Glass Smash. Destroy every piece of glass in one of my favorite levels from 2 with bricks. Don't do it in real life, even if the sweet and sour chicken from your local China place sucks. If you order food and it sucks, you only got yourself to blame for not cooking it yourself. You can hire me as your cook if you want to. In the next one, you can become Link and destroy lots of pots. This is a joke only us gamers can fully understand, haha. And then you have to clean up all the alcohol before your girlfriend comes back. I would never date a woman that does not allow me to drink Pepsi Max. I'm not sponsored. Luckily, I don't talk to women, so I have nothing to fear. This one can get a bit annoying since some of your party friends still got their bottles in their hands, and if you accidentally kill them, you lose some time. Not like it matters if you're too fast, because I got it despite killing one of them. He deserved it. I gave him a quick way out instead of having to suffer through years of pain with his addiction. Sorry for spending so much time on Glass Smash, but I just really love it. Others include playing basketball and I suck at it, and this is maybe the most use you will get out of your gravity gun. Unless you play the zombie challenge where you have to kill them with boxes. It's fun but also kinda sucks because you can barely see anything in front of you if you got a big box in front of your face. Maybe that's how the mailman feels like sometimes. You can also use the heads. I wish the real game made more use of this mechanic. This also was my very own zombies mode back in the day. Also, I don't know if something bugged out, but the virus challenges were the easiest ones in the game to platinum. The virus NPC somehow did not manage to get another single NPC in both maps. I could just sit in my tiny corner and kill the virus whenever he came close to me. It got only a bit tight once when he spawned right on top of me, but I guess that didn't count, poor him. I still remember how the virus one in Notre Dame in Timesplitters 2 as a kid took me weeks to get the platinum trophy for. Maybe I just sucked as a kid. Normally you get worse at games the older you get, maybe it's the other way around for me. I finally get to feel young again, yay. You just have to believe me when I tell you that Timesplitters 2 and 3 are some of the best local multiplayer games of all time, even without playing many shooters. Real ones know that it's not about deathmatch or those modes that every other game has, but all about virus or flame tag or deathmatch where the person who is at the bottom of the scoreboard gets a whole squad of monkeys to help them out. You can just do anything here. There are so many characters to choose from with different personalities and fun voice lines when you pick them.
Bite my crunchy brown ass.
With a bit of lubrication, I'm ready for anything.
Fun levels with fun game modes. You can customize what weapons appear or basically anything else you would ever want, and if that's not enough for you, then there's also a map maker for you if you get bored of the normal maps. I never messed around with the 1 in 3 much because I'm too stupid, but everything can be done here. Even create your own little story levels pretty much. Just need to invest some time into learning it. Timesplitters perfectly fit the niche for people like me who wanted a shooter that was in World War II, since that was like most of them around those times, or the Vietnam War. It's also one of the rare shooters my parents allowed me to play openly, since it looked more like a cartoon even though you could behead people and stuff. For stuff like Counter-Strike I had to hide it. There was nothing else like it and also never was after. Don't punch me for this, but in a way Fortnite is the only other shooter that kinda makes me feel like it with all those crossovers, original characters and different custom created game modes nowadays. So even if you have to play it with yourself, it's still worth it because it's full of content. So much to do, so much to see. I can't show you all of it because that would make the video explode and I'm not a person of many words anyways. It's worth the normal price of $10, but on sale for $3, you can't say no to it, same with Timesplitters 2. Or just emulate them, that's free after all. And nowadays there's also Timesplitters Rewind that finally came out after so many years if you don't have real life friends and wanna have a taste of multiplayer. Nothing beats playing them on the same couch with a bunch of friends though. Also back in the day I remember picking 2 sexy characters all the time with 2 controllers and making them look at each other and played with myself. Just wanted to get that out there at the end of the video since nobody will hear this anyways, probably. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video and will have a good day, a good night or whatever fits your time zone. I will now continue to try to get the Platinum Trophy and will eventually get it, even if the basketball mission, where I need to get at least a gold on, will be the hardest challenge. I'm just not tall enough to be good at basketball. I prefer football. Bye bye.